Hello, YouTube. Mark here, also known as the Geo Scholar. I'm coming to you live, and I'm here to start the stream. I'm gonna have a little music on this stream, have a little classical music here. Thank you for the likes. I have a little classical music here. Actually, I'm gonna play a little dubstep. Now, play some classical. Play a little Mozart. Now, obviously, by the title, you can see it's about Atlanta. Right now, to give you an idea, the city of Atlanta is it's the capital and the largest city of the state of Georgia. What's up, Godbody? Thank you for joining me. Now, Atlanta, Georgia, located in the southeast United States. It's the capital, it's the largest city in Georgia. It's a very large metropolitan area. The state of Georgia has over 10 million people. It has, the metropolitan area of Atlanta has close to 6 million people. So it's about 60% of Georgia's population lives in metropolitan Atlanta. Now, when you really look at the city of Atlanta on its own, there are a few things that you have to understand. For starters, you look at the city of Atlanta. Now, if you were to actually get on the ground and come to Atlanta, I live towards the outskirts. I live way out in the sticks, out in the country. It's technically part of Metro Atlanta, but you wouldn't know it. But here's the thing: when you think about Atlanta's geography, and when you think about how most cities form, that's why the title of this stream is called "Against All Odds." Atlanta growing against all odds. And I'm going to explain to you what that is about. And one of the things you have to understand, think about this. You look at Atlanta, and then you look at other cities like Nashville, Cincinnati, you look at St. Louis, you look at New Orleans. You notice all of those cities are located on water. You notice all of those cities are located pretty much in a place where, there's a natural landform there that would facilitate growth, and particularly a large river that is navigable and important for trade. And given that in mind, you look at where the Atlanta area is, you look at where Atlanta is. I love Mantovani and his orchestra. I'll give him a listen soon. Now, when you think about where Atlanta is located, oh heck, I'll just show it to you on Google Earth. There you go. Now you look at the city of Atlanta, you notice so much of downtown Atlanta. You look at this area, this is the downtown area. Look at this is where all the liveliness is, this is where all the action takes place. This is downtown Atlanta for you. You look at all of this. And then you go further and further out, and it gets more and more green and green. You're still technically in Atlanta, but Atlanta is a bad place. I think you can find that about everywhere in America and pretty much the world. I'm not gonna lie to you, classism and all of that exists here in Atlanta. You can find that pretty much anywhere. But yeah, you look at the downtown area. You notice how it's very oriented towards the east. And then you come here. This is kind of the border where Atlanta ends. That's the Chattahoochee River. Now, this is the Chattahoochee. You notice something? It's just kind of there. You know, maybe a water treatment plant here or there or something, but you keep going upward and upward and upward. But you notice the river. You notice how so much that's very active in Atlanta is just kind of far away from the river. Whereas I will show you New York. I'm going to show you another city. Look at New York City. New York City's pretty much on the water. I mean, look at it. You got the Hudson River. True, but Atlanta's turned into a hell. 30. I'm not even 30. God body, I'm 32. I'm 32 years old. Granted, there are other places in America that I would rather be living in, such as, but I'm not going to discuss that in this video. But yeah, that's the Hudson River. That's the Hudson River. And the Hudson River empties out to where New York City is. Yeah, LOL, darn, yeah. What's up, Arian Drake? Yeah, I get that a lot. You know, I tell people I'm 32 and they get shocked. They think I'm younger. But yeah, you look at New York City. Look at New York City. You know, so much about New York City is about the water. New York City wouldn't be New York City without water. Now I'm going to show you Cincinnati, Ohio. Look at where Cincinnati is. Look where look at Cincinnati. It's up on the river. Look at their baseball stadium right there at Great American Ballpark where the Cincinnati Reds play. It's right on the river. That's where the Bengals play. You just look, this is the Ohio River. So much about Cincinnati is about the Ohio River. And now I'm going to take it back to Atlanta. Show you Atlanta. Mircha Petku, hello. Good morning. No, wait, it's evening here. You look at Atlanta, I'm going to put the 3D feature on here. You look at where downtown it. You look at where downtown. You look at where downtown Atlanta is, and then you get further and further away from downtown. This is still technically Atlanta, and it ends here. But this Chattahoochee River, I'm going to give you a little 7 a.m. in Romania. Wow. Are you from Bucharest, the capital? Now, as I've explained about, as I've shown you some of the pictures and some of the maps, you look at New York and you look at Cincinnati, those cities were built on water. Water is why they grew. You look at New York City and why it is the biggest city in the United States of America. It's all about that water. It's about so many people. New York was a major entryway into the United States of America. And then you had the Hudson River, so you could take goods inland into upstate New York. And then you had Cincinnati, a port city on the Ohio River, steamboat transportation. And then you look at the city of Atlanta. What could make Atlanta grow? You have to think about this. The city of Atlanta, when it was first built, it was not on a major body of water. You look at the city of Atlanta. Milano's in situation far from a major river. True. And the same situation goes for Johannesburg, South Africa. Of course, Johannesburg, South Africa had another advantage working for it: the discovery of important minerals. You have to think about what's in South Africa. You have to think about gold. You have to think about diamonds. You have to think about that is why Johannesburg grew. When you look at Atlanta, Atlanta grew because you had the meeting of, it was the terminus for a railway. You had the meeting of railways. You had so many railways meeting in Atlanta. It was a major railroad hub. It grew because of man-made transportation. It did not grow because of natural transportation, because you have to understand, you go to the Chattahoochee River, and I got videos of the Chattahoochee River. That river is too shallow, too narrow to accommodate big ships that are bound for the ocean. Too narrow and too rocky. Only thing that river is good for is maybe going out fishing, because I've got videos on my channel of the Chattahoochee. Go check it out. But Atlanta was never a river city. It's a city that just now happens to be next to a river. And the only reason Atlanta was ever next to a river is because of the annexations that took place during the 1950s, where Atlanta's land area grew. And that's why it's next to the river. So why did Atlanta grow? Man-made transportation. Transportation geography, as technology changed, it gave Atlanta a bit of an advantage. All analytical. I try to be. Think about geography. You got to analyze things. But the thing about Atlanta, it grew because it was a railroad hub. You had all the railroads, and then it became a highway hub. And now it's a major airport hub. Hartsfield Jackson International Airport, the busiest airport in the world. And you have to understand something about Atlanta. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something very crucial. Atlanta's right there. However, if we scroll back, the city of Atlanta, from Atlanta, you are a 2-hour flight from about 80% of America's population. like from here, you can reach from Atlanta. If you take an airplane flight out of Atlanta, you can reach about 70 to 80% of the U.S. population within maybe 2 or 3 hours. That has made it a very important airport and a very important air hub. Thank you, Godbody. We need more analytical thinking is always good. It's always good. You gotta look deeper. You look at all the geographic factors of Atlanta, everything points to Atlanta shouldn't even be this big. But you have to think about all the factors that have contributed to Atlanta. You have to think about the transportation. Because you had so many, it became a railroad hub. So you had railroads meeting in Atlanta. And so that helped it grow. It was a railroad town. Atlanta was a railroad town, not that far off from places like Cheyenne, Wyoming. Atlanta and water is impossible. You know what the irony of that is, Godbody? The city of Atlanta gets about 50 inches of rain a year. It rained earlier today. Or wait, yeah. It's been raining a lot this summer. Yeah, we get a lot of rain here. And yet I think because we don't have many aquifers here, water has been water was an issue back when we had a drought over a decade ago. But one thing about Atlanta, water has not played a role in its growth. What has played a role in the growth, man-made transportation. It was the railroads that helped a lot. Oh yeah, Atlanta gets that much rain. You know, Atlanta actually gets far more rain than Seattle. Seattle gets about 38 inches of rain a year. A lot of people, and yet Seattle has the reputation for being very rainy. But the one thing about, Atlanta's growth as a city, you have to think about just sort of the meeting of the railroads and how, it became like a cross hub, became like a hub for the railroad. And then you have to think so much of Atlanta's growth took place after the 1960s, during the 60s and onward. As Jim Crow laws were being repealed, more people started coming to the South. More people were looking for cheaper places to live. And then you had the role of the airport being built just south of Atlanta. And then you have to think about just how many people had moved to Atlanta, for jobs, for cheaper costs of living. And, a lot of people don't like snow. Atlanta does not get much snow compared to other cities in the United States of America. You have milder winters here. The summers here are awful. I do not like summer here in Atlanta. They call it hot Atlanta for a reason. But, people move to Atlanta because they want, a place that's cheaper to live. They're looking for jobs. And the 1996, Darkman Jeff, what's up? I love geography, Godbody. The thing about just the growth, just what attracted people to come to the place, and then you have to think about just it when it became a railroad town, and now it's a big major hub for highways, and so it's a major shipping center on land. You have the trains, you have the highways, so you have a lot of trucking going on here in Atlanta. You have a lot of just that's facilitating the growth here. World's busiest airport is here. And so, despite the lack of a waterway here, which has helped cities like New York, Seattle, Cincinnati, Chicago grow. Because Chicago grew pretty quickly as well, and I'm going to discuss Chicago in another video. You know, up until Atlanta started growing really quickly, the largest city in Georgia was Savannah. And obviously, you know, if you know where Savannah is located. You look where Savannah is located. And I'm going to have to eventually close this video down soon. You look at where it is. It's located on the Savannah River, and you got an outlet towards the ocean. That was pretty much like the first city here in the state of Georgia. Atlanta grew because, you know, it was a major shipping hub for Atlanta. You know, Atlanta grew because it was a major shipping hub in terms of the railroads and later trucking and now trucking, trains, and airports. Oh yeah, I-85 goes through there. Thanks for the support. No problem, Godbody. You know, that's the thing. You know, I love this subject. I love geography. Everything about Atlanta's geography says it shouldn't even be growing like this at all. But you have to think about the role of man-made about transportation geography. And a lot of things that are in man-made about transportation geography, a lot of it is man-made. A lot of it, you know, as technology changes, you start to see certain patterns in geography. You start to see certain shifts in movement and people and things and places and ideas. And basically, Atlanta, it went from being a railroad hub to now being a hub for air travel, a hub for trucking, and you have a lot of people that have come here for the jobs. As far as like companies coming down here, people looking for cheaper places to live, looking for warmer places to live, not tropical, but you know, less cold than where they came from. Oh yeah, you got to take advantage of commerce because when you got I-85, I-75, I-20, oh by the way, I-20 goes all the way out to Texas. You know, I-20 got all these highways that'll take you to different places. You know, that has facilitated a lot of growth and a lot of commerce. And that is what is so important to understand. Atlanta's growth, in many ways, considering that, yeah, a lot of people forget about I-20. When you consider that Atlanta's not located on a very good body of water at all, when you consider that it's very far inland, and you consider that there weren't really a lot of resources. Like, you know, there was a gold rush in Georgia, but the gold was exhausted a long time ago, long before Atlanta was founded. When you look at all of that, and you look at the biggest resource right now for Atlanta is the land and its location. And that is a big part of why it's growing. You've got a lot of room here. You've got just the fact that it's an inland transportation hub, even without any sort of water transportation here. No major water transportation here, and yet it's an inland transportation hub. You know, air travel, rail travel, trucks. It's a lot to think about. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you get a deeper idea of how Atlanta has been functioning and how it works. And until next time, this is the Geo Scholar. Check out my Patreon. I'm going to put the link to my Patreon in the description box if you want to support the channel. You can make a pledge to my channel. And be sure to like this and subscribe and share with others. Until next time, this is the Geo Scholar.